It is June the 10th. It is a fantastic day. Man, it's crazy how quickly time goes by. You gotta make sure you take advantage of the days. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that your goals are, whether it be work related, fitness related, relationship related, personal development, it doesn't matter. You really got to put in the time and the effort because man, them days just go by. I'm like, damn, how the hell is it already the 10th of June? You know what I'm saying? But that's just what it is. It's 72 degrees here, a little bit cloudy. Ooh, Mara, how you doing? How you doing? I hope you've been feeling a little bit better, or with everything that's going on, or that had been going on. I hope that that situation is coming along as well as it can. We got Lord of Bananas. We got Stoned Assassin. How y'all doing today? It's a nice Monday. It was over the weekend. I stopped around and looked at a bunch of apartments and stuff. You know how that shit is, though. It's kind of like first come, first serve type of thing. So you got to look and look and look and look. And then eventually you hit a spot until you have more money, which I don't have. When you have a lot, not a ton necessarily, but you got a bigger stockpile of money and credit and stuff, and then you can take your time a little bit. But when you don't have that, you just kind of like, oh shit, well, I'm about to move. Where we gonna be? You know what I'm saying? But everything is pretty good with me. I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty well overall. We got Libby. We got Queen Fritza. What's going on? Yes, I'm not interfering or competing with Dr. Richie today. I hope that y'all's weekend was pretty good. It was a really beautiful weekend up here in New Jersey. And the weather continues to do wonders. We got Scott, the Lakeside Dragon. How y'all doing today? So let's go ahead and get into it because we, again, sometimes on Mondays there's not much to go about, but today we got a little bit of stuff to go over. So let's check it out. And the next episode, or our next mental health episode, is going to be another introduction. I mean, probably the first 10 or so episodes that we do, other than like biopics, will be introductions because when it comes to talking about coping mechanisms, or like last time we talked about deinstitutionalization, we talked about mental health hospitals, stuff like that. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it, you can't really break it down in one episode. So we'll definitely be talking about that again, more rather. Exactly. I'm not interfering with indisputable today, but I am interfering with TDR. You know what I'm saying? It's always something. To not interfere with anybody, I would have to get up super early, and right now that's just not that's just not the way my rhythm is set up. But oh, we got Monk without a cause. What's going on? How you doing today? But yeah, the next one we do will be introduction into kind of, how people approached mental health issues in ancient times. So we're going to be going back. And then also with some speculation before like written history. The majority of human history uh happened before writing was invented, and happened before agriculture, and will really happen before civilization. Most of our history is pre-civilization. Civilization didn't come about until we had to stop moving about as much. Now, but yeah, we'll do that this week. Maybe, probably not Wednesday, because I'll keep y'all posted. Trump to participate in probation interview today, source says. Former President Donald Trump's pre-sentencing interview with the New York probation office will take place virtually on Monday. Excuse me. So that's today. A Trump source with knowledge of scheduling confirmed to CBS News. After becoming the first former president in American history convicted in a criminal trial, Trump on Monday will encounter another first, an interview with a probation officer. There's another, well, I mean, there have been a variety of polls that have come out since Trump's conviction. And one of them was like, I think, yeah, a CBS poll, and Trump and Biden are like still dead tied. It's like a perfect tie in the swing states as well. So, um, yeah, apparently not that much has changed yet, but also I think that, at the end of the day, just like every other election, it's going to come down to who shows up to the polls. Because with stuff being this close, it's just like, And the other criminal trials are not happening before the election. For those who are convicted of crimes in Manhattan, the interviews are typically conducted in person in the same building where Trump's trial was held. Those being interviewed are not always accompanied by their lawyers. But Trump is no ordinary guilty party. The judge in his case, Juan Merchant, issued an order Friday granting Trump attorney Todd Blanche permission to attend the interview. It will be conducted Monday remotely via video, according to a source with knowledge of the scheduling. I feel like it just said that in another sentence, like word for word, pretty much. Trump will be at his home in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. His probation officer will be in an office at Manhattan Criminal Court. This man, exactly. This guy is, now a convicted felon, and people are still like, oh, he ought to be in office. This ought to be the guy because the system is so rigged and it's so the lies of the Democrats and the left. It's always blown me away how there's so many legitimate criticisms of the Democratic Party. I mean, there's criticisms of any power government or political organization or any organization that has power and influence, but it's like, so I'm going to go be a Republican because they make more sense. Like, it's just how what are you thinking about if that's your move? It just doesn't make sense to me. But then again, we follow politics closely, so I don't know. All right, well, we will keep our eyes on that. All right, let's see what's up. We got Trump at the rally. Let's see he said a variety of things at the rally, and I think I have some interview footage too. So let's check this out. Trump jokes that he doesn't care about his supporters. He just wants their votes amid scorching rally temps. Man, yeah, hold on, let's watch first.
By the way, isn't that breeze nice? Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing.
See, the press, they'll take what I just said.
This is hilarious.
By the way, isn't that breeze nice? Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every.
I mean, this is just Trump joking around, honestly, like he always does at his rallies. I'm definitely not going to have the take like MSNBC would, like, oh, look out. I mean, this is just Trump. He says stuff like this all the time. It don't matter. It don't matter where they at. My man's just gonna have on that jacket. He's gonna wear that jacket. All right, let's see what's up. We got a lot of stuff, and too a bunch of stuff that's not politically related necessarily. Um, Hold on. Let's go to more Trump footage. Let's see. Okay, so I think maybe he talked about this again because I do remember when Trump was talking about electrocution and being eaten by sharks. So I guess he talked about it again. Let's see. Right, exactly. He told the truth for once.
So we have a country that's in trouble. We're going to end the mandate on electric one day. They want to make all boats, too. I went to a boat company in South Carolina. The boat, I said, how is it? He said, it's a problem, sir. They want us to make all electric boats. These are boats that are from 16 to 35 or so feet. Fishing boats, leisure boats. Beautiful company in South Carolina. Beautiful. Guy's been doing it for 50 years. He sells hundreds of boats every couple of months. I mean, really fantastic guy. And they use the Mercury engines and different engines in the back. No problem. They want to take that out.
Trump has always loved to do his rallies, but this has to be like the highlight truly of his life right now, his ultimate escape. Because as soon as he leaves these rallies, like he is blood in the water for him absolutely everywhere, whether it be the criminal trials that are still pending, the rest of the campaign in general, everything that he has to deal with, that the money that he owes that he has to pay, the rest of the I mean, just everything that he's dealing with, and the Republican Party too, because again, if Trump loses, he's screwed. If Donald Trump doesn't win the election, everybody's going to throw him under the bus because why wouldn't they?
They want to make it all electric. He said the
Well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people will for sure.
problem is the boat is so heavy, it can't float. I said, that sounds like a problem. He said also it can't go fast because of the weight. And they want to now have a 50-mile or a 70-mile radius. You have to go out 70 miles before you can really start the boat up. And you go out at 2 knots. That's essentially almost like 2 miles an hour. I say, how long does it take you to get out there? Many hours.
He's talking like he's sitting in a nursing home or something. Like this is this is a conversation that you would have at like a random lunch table somewhere, like if you were getting coffee with somebody. But yes, this isn't the first time he's talked about it.
And then you're allowed to go around for 10 minutes, but you have to come back because the batteries only last for a very short period of time. So I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, no.
I just can't imagine going to one of these rallies for however long they are, an hour plus, and listening to this and just like, because one of the things that like David Pakman does, I know y'all are familiar with David Pakman. One of the things that he'll do on his channel is he'll play of like 20 or 30 minutes of a Trump rally, and he just babbles and babbles and babbles. And what the, what the newsreels do, what the news stations do, they'll take like 10, 15 seconds of something that he said. But for the most part, he just says nothing for 40 minutes, for 50 minutes, 60 minutes. It's like he's just at the lunch table or some shit. Like this is just a big fun event for everybody. Like none of this shit's real.
Nobody ever asked this question, and it must be because of MIT, my relationship to MIT. Very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight, and you're in the boat, and you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery's now underwater, and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they were.
Yeah, and I don't remember when it was, but it was maybe a year ago. But he was talking about this same exact thing.
Weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here.
This is a presidential rally. This man, this is his speech to the people to reelect him. Again, it's just like going to the football game, going to the basketball game.
Here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking? Do I stay on top of the boat?
It's funny to watch like the people in the back, they're just like standing there like, yeah. They're just like nodding along like, yeah, I guess so, bro. They get
electrocuted, or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
This shit is funny as hell. All right, let's see what's up with this. 14 wild campaign promises candidates have actually made. I can't remember. We talked about this guy before. Yes, Vermin Supreme. There we go. I think he runs. He lives like in the Northeast, I believe. I can't remember exactly where, but I think he lives in the Northeast. Barack Obama promises not to make fun of Mitt Romney. This is like, okay, let's see. I don't know. That's definitely some MSNBC shit right there. Dan Quayle's education pledge. What did he say? Vice President to George H.W. Bush, Dan Quayle, will go down in history as a figure of ridicule in terms of his wildest promises. His aim to produce, quote, the best educated American people in the world is tainted with irony. Commentators alleged he had no plan to back up the statement, but his infamous misspelling of the word potato during a 1992 school visit mocks Quayle's lofty promise. That must have been I don't know. I mean, I was born in 1992, so I definitely don't remember anything about that. Yes, he does. He looks extremely young. Hey, look, man, being president be aging people like crazy. I mean, obviously, you can't blame. I mean, that I don't care who you are, that shit gonna age you. But yeah, if people go into that office and they come out looking. I mean, it's 8 years is 8 years, but still, they come out looking like 30 years later. Like, man, I can't, cause bro, like, I don't care who you are. Like, we joke about people like Joe Biden being on stimulants and stuff, but I don't really see how any president isn't on stimulants. Like, I'm serious. Like, how can you be the president of the United States? How can you be the leader of a country, especially a very powerful one that's like empire status, and not be on drugs? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not saying obviously you can't be strung out and do it, but you're not getting, oh, I get a full 8 hours of sleep. Clearly you don't. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like all the stress. Next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, we just lost a freighter. We just lost $30 billion. Pirates stole it. Like, oh boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, he really you said you oh Fritz will remember that live. Yo, he what did he spell potato? Did he spell it with a OE or something? He spelled it with a POTATOE or something like that. But yeah, nah, I just I don't see how any president is not at least on stimulants and some type of sleeping aid. Like, I have to get some sleep. Like I don't see how that's possible. Could be wrong, but you know. Count Binance addresses the price of croissants. What does this mean? Count Count Benface. Oh, I thought that said Binance. Count Benface. Okay, so we over in the UK now. Oh yes, exactly. If you sip your cup of coffee, we all on stimulants. So there you go. Exactly, we all on stimulants. But seriously though, like it's fun. Obviously, we joke with Joe Biden, but when you really think about it, I mean, I don't care who you are, you gonna be on stimulants at least sometimes if you in a job like that. I mean, come on. Count Benface addressed several bizarre issues during his 2024 campaign to be mayor of London. He promised to build one affordable house and just one affordable house and to tackle the cost of living crisis. He pledged to price cap croissants at £1 and 10 cents. Many of Count Ben Face's promises would appeal to the British public. He also aimed to ban speakerphones from public transport, but his chances of being elected to the mayoral role were less than, of course. And I'm pretty sure that he didn't actually. Yes, Binance is a crypto type of crypto. That's why I just was on automatic. That's proof that when you read, you don't really read the full word. Like you kind of like your brain just recognizes the pattern of the letters together because you can misread stuff so easily, or like something will be totally misspelled and you don't even notice it. Interesting how things work. Sarah Palin promises to stand by North Korea. Oh God, what's Sarah Palin's one of those people who she just says things. So what did she say? What did this mean? It was a simple slip of the tongue, but it shed doubt on Sarah Palin's credibility. As yeah, this sounds like something that she just said, and she does that anyway. Like Sarah Palin she just kind of says things, and when John McCain he brought her out of the woodworks, as like because he was trying to win. He was trying to beat Obama in '08, as far as I remember. Um, yeah. We've got to stand with our North Korean allies. Oh yes, she probably just said that. But again, that's what she's an airhead. Sarah Palin is an airhead. National age freeze. The deadly serious party of Australia. Hey, they not they letting you know they not playing. I'm sure this is obvious sarcasm and satire. National age freeze. When was this though? Oh, this was 84. The deadly serious party from Australia was poorly named. Yes, it is. Because it sounds like satire off the bat. Like, you know. Yes, out of the deep snow of out of the deep snow of Alaska. There was nothing serious about a political organization that promised a national age freeze while employing a flock of killer penguins to protect Australia's coastline from invasion. Yeah, they were clearly just they were just having a good time. They were having a good time. There's no way that, I mean, nobody would have possibly thought that this was serious, which is why they call themselves the deadly serious party of Australia. But you know what? Sometimes you need stuff like this in the political system, not because there's actually a chance of victory, but because sometimes you just got to make fun of the system. You know what I mean? Because, like, for instance, we're currently, like, I think this session of Congress is the most unproductive session of Congress in American history. They don't do anything whatsoever. So this would be like a nice way to kind of poke fun at them, like, you know. So I like it. Two sunsets a day, of course. Wouldn't that be nice and lovely? Everyone loves a sunset, but the laws of nature dictate that we only ever see one each day. It would have been fascinating to see how the Hungarian two-tailed dog party would have addressed this point had they been elected to the national parliament. Two sunsets a day. John Edwards promises miracle cures. So, and I mean, we gonna read it, but I'm guessing what is that, like some faith television, televangelist type shit. In the lead up to the 2004 presidential election campaign, Senator John Edwards made an outrageous promise relating to three of the world's most severe medical conditions. Edwards said that if John Kerry were elected president, the administration would cure juvenile diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and more. Oh yeah, no, you can't say stuff like that, man. I mean, it's like you can't make that's too big of a promise to make. You know, we got Morbius Dragon. What's going on? How you doing? Edwards further stretched this thin credibility by claiming people like Christopher Reeves are going to get out of that wheelchair and walk again. Like, oh my god. Oh, yeah, no, so no, we talking about Sarah Palin just says things. This man really just says things. So well, he was running with John Kerry. Yeah, I guess so. He was running with him. We gonna cure juvenile diabetes, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. Only someone who doesn't understand. And look, I don't understand how that stuff works like a doctor would, clearly. But I know enough to know that can't say some shit like that. You feel me? Like, a good sign that somebody doesn't really know much about anything is if, oh, it's so simple. It's everything's so easy. There's nothing to it. Like, oh no, there's, usually, especially when it's something important, it's probably not just super simple and there's nothing to it. But again, when you're ignorant about things, and this can be any of us, but eventually you got to know what you don't know. Calling everyone Chris. The UK's monster raving loony party is the most notorious of the French political organizations. Pet passports. Oh, so pet passports. So they introduced pet passports and it came to law. So they want to call everybody Chris as a way to combat identity theft. If everybody has the same name, then there's no such thing as identity theft. But yeah, nah, my man's up here. He said, we just gonna cure everything. Youth pensions, APPD. Okay, what's going on with this? The anarchist pogo party of Germany promised voters free beer. So far, I'm with it. I fuck with it so far. Thus far, I am not against it. Free beer, but the country's youth stood to benefit most from its manifesto. If elected, the party promised a youth pension and the end of compulsory education. Oh yeah, y'all just gonna give. We just gonna give the kids all. We just gonna give the kids money. Just give the kids money and give everybody free beer. In true anarchist style, another pledge aimed to abolish the German police. Unemployment at full pay was also part of their 1998 manifesto, which compensated for the lack of a pension once the population reached retirement age. Well, free beer, that's definitely not a bad idea. What we got? Raising of school age to 65. What? So what? You never got to go or something? Young voters in New Zealand were promised a gloomier future. Oh, you can't leave school till you 65. You got to stay in school forever. Ponies for everyone. My man Vermin Supreme. Hell yeah. Give everybody a pony. The end of celebrity worship. Yeah, we just gonna wave our mat. We just gonna wave a wand and culture just gonna come to an end. New gorillas for New Orleans Zoo. Bono to be elected Pope. Why would this happen? He founded the Church of the Militant Elvis Party. David Bishop was a colorful political character who once went by the name of Lord Biro. This dude is extra eccentric. Lord Biro. In 2001, he founded the Church of the Militant Elvis Party. That's a hell of a name. I fuck with that name, though. I like it. And like the monster raving loonies, his manifesto contained a mix of crazy and serious policies. Okay, so he wanted to fix up potholes. Okay, okay, nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And he wanted to make Bono the Pope because that's what the world needs. That's exactly what the Catholic Church needs. We got to put Bono in there. We got to make Bono the Pope. All right, what we got? Let's see. We got more from Trump. Trump reveals one weird trick to solve drug addiction and alcoholism and even cigarettes. What is that trick?
Legal issues.
Excuse me. The really big stuff and their trial is, look, I feel very badly for them in terms of the addiction part of what they have right now, because I understand the addiction world. And I've also, not only a brother, I've lost a lot of friends to addiction, drugs, alcohol, and there are other addictions also, frankly. It would be nice if people would do certain things and live certain ways, but you're not able to, they're just not able to break it. I've had friends that are so strong. My brother was a strong person. I've had friends that were so strong, so powerful, they couldn't stay away from a glass of alcohol. They couldn't stay away from a drug. They had to have a drug. But you know the way that you solve the problem? Don't have them. If you don't have a taste for alcohol,
Hey, that's probably the most that's probably the most practical way to not get hooked on shit. Just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I can't really argue with that. At the end of the day, just don't do it. Obviously, we have to address the issue of people who are on them, but you know, eh, I guess he isn't wrong.
I remember when I was going to school, college, I had a friend, he hated the taste of scotch, hated it. It was like, but he wanted to develop it because socially he thought it was a good thing. You know, I'd sit down with the bankers and, you know, all the Wharton School of Finance, they want to have dinners with bankers, right? That's their big thing. And he developed a taste for scotch. And by the time he finished, he ended up being a very bad alcoholic. 20, 25 years later, he ended up being an alcoholic and he couldn't stay away. I say the way you stay away, just don't drink. Just don't have it. If you don't have drugs, if you don't experience early on, you're not going to have a need for it. You're not going to have an addiction. If you
It's just funny because it's like, yeah, but that's not obviously, certain things drive people to drugs, like so. This is this is like the most I don't give a fuck answer ever.
You don't drink alcohol, you're not going to have an addiction. You're not going to have this insatiable urge to have a drink. And I say that to people with your children. They ask me, "What do you think of children? What do you tell them?" I say, "No drugs, no alcohol." I also say, "No cigarettes. Don't have the cigarettes.
Just
Don't
don't have the cigarettes.
have cigarettes. Don't have them."
He's such an old man. Obviously, Joe Biden is an old man too, but don't have the cigarettes.
I have friends that can't stop smoking. If they never had a cigarette before, they'd have no problem. When I look at a friend that can't stop smoking, I don't understand why it's hard to stop. The smoke all over the place. The fact is, if you never had a cigarette, I never had a cigarette. I have no urge to smoke. But if you are, you get addicted. It has something and you just can't stop.
God. Again, it's you can't really argue with that. But what about afterwards? You know what I'm saying? Like, what about afterwards? Things happen. But okay. So what? So what's up with what's everybody talking about Brian Donalds for? What's everybody talking about Brian Donalds for? Apparently, he said something about Jim Crow and black people were better off. Or I don't know. Let's see what happens. Right? No see, no exist. No see, no exist. Just close your eyes. All your depression will disappear. That's hilarious. All right, let's see what's up. Rep Byron Donalds dragged by everyone from Joy Reid to Victor Newman over Jim Crow comments. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, it has come to my attention that a so-called leader has made the factually inaccurate statement that black folks were better off during Jim Crow. That's an outlandish, outrageous, and out-of-pocket observation. We were not better off when a young boy named Emmett Till could be brutally murdered without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when
Well, if you take all of that away, no, it's I mean, even if you take Byron Donalds out of this whole equation, it's always hilarious to me how people will romanticize a past that never really existed, because in reality, the further back in time you go, especially for certain people, certain groups of people, or certain just women, just women, period, the less rights people have, the less knowledge we have, the less modern medicine we have, the less modern, like pasteurization methods to make sure that the food and water and drinks we have are clean. The further back in time you go, the more that disappears. So it's like, you know, pick your poison.
black women could be sexually assaulted without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be systematically lynched without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when children could be denied a high quality education without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be denied the right to vote.
And they'll look at stuff like, oh, well, more people were married. But again, marriage is a lot of that is cultural, in a sense of like how many people are married versus how many people are not married. The world doesn't really work the same way anymore. The economy doesn't work the same way anymore. The dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. All of that contributes to people not being married the way that they used to. Marriage, again, that's another thing. The further back in time you go, the more marriage becomes a necessity for survival, and not like oh, we're in love with each other and we like to spend our lives together. We want to be partners. That's more modern. So again, using more people were married isn't necessarily a statistic that just means that people were better off. You know what I'm saying? Now that you can look at households and stuff like that, but marriage again is an institution, and it doesn't work the way that it used to. Okay, let's see what's up here.
The other thing that you said was
Sure.
Black people voted more conservatively. Were you
Oh, we
talking
got Annie. How you doing today, Annie? Good to have you here.
about them voting for Republicans?
In part, yeah, because that's just an empirical fact. That's what we know that did happen. And the only corollary that I am making is that when families are together, and now you're trying to find a way for you to build wealth within your family unit, you're thinking about
Okay, I'll play this, but again, it's like this is a perfect example of Black Republicans, people who are a member of this party. You're ignoring so much just to focus on one tiny little thing that, again, really is a fantasy at the end of the day. To be like, oh, the welfare programs broke up the Black household. That's why I'm a Republican. Like, okay, so the Republican Party that is fundamentally against you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how are you ignoring all of these things? It's so stupid.
public policy in a myriad of ways. Because at the end of the day, you want your children to be able to stand on your shoulders. I was very, very fortunate. My mother was able to build a platform for me to be able to stand on and to be able to achieve. Same for my sisters. I'm a very blessed individual because of
And then too, like it's obviously family is important. Having a healthy family is important if that's something that you can have. How the environment that a child grows up in absolutely is important, 100%. But it's just like that how is that the crux of your political agenda? How are you putting this into law? So it's like at the end of the day, again, like the Republican Party operates on slogans. Like, how do you actually legislate these things? Which is why all Republicans really do is cut things and take shit away. Cut regulations, cut programs, and defund things because you can't legislate these things. You can't pass laws that will just make people be together in the household without talking about, again, the economy, jobs, how much people are getting paid, all of these things. And it's like Republicans think that they've monopolized caring about family. You know what I'm saying? It's like only conservatives care about family. That's so dumb.
that. My only point is that when you have a family unit, husband and wife living together, striving together, grinding together, raising children together, you start thinking about public
And this is so idealistic. How these people are always saying that the left is idealistic, and sure, anybody can be idealistic. That's just a human thing. It's part of us being hopeful, which is not all bad at all. You want to be hopeful. You want to be ideal. You don't want to get rid of your idealism completely. Otherwise, I mean, what are you really striving for? But how idealistic is this? Shit happens.
policy in a myriad of ways. And my belief is that dynamic allows people to start thinking about public policy in a much more conservative way as
Sure.
opposed to a much more progressive way. That's my point.
That might be, I mean, I think you're a Republican, so you're entitled to that opinion. But I think what people are taking issue with is you made a couple of statements of fact. And one of the things I was asking you about whether you were talking about Black people voting for Republicans. In the time period that you're talking about, the LBJ time period, they started voting for Democrats. And the reason is because of civil rights, because a Democratic president was passing bills that gave them rights, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1965, the Housing Fairness Act. So do you acknowledge that when Democrats Black voters vote for Democrats, it's actually because there's a history there. There's a reason that they voted for Democrats in that time period, not because they were just getting welfare money.
Abby, Abby, let me be clear. I don't deny that. I think it's also important for the record to be clear that you had the vast majority of Democrats in the Senate were filibustering the 64 Civil Rights Act led by Robert Byrd, who, by the way, was a mentor to Joe Biden when he went into the United States Senate. So if we're going to talk about the history, let's talk about it clearly and completely. Republicans have been the ones who were pushing not just the 64 Civil
He's such a hack. I get this is like the price of politics, and like Democrats are hacks too. They go on and they do their hack shit too. But I mean, all he's doing is spewing talking points. That's all he's doing right now. Because again, in order for you to be justified in everything that you're saying, you have to ignore the modern day Republican Party entirely. You just have to. It's like I care more about the black community than everybody else. That's why none of my colleagues and none of my associates and none of my friends are black. What does that say?
Rights Act, but the other 4 Civil Rights Acts that occurred before 1964.
Look,
That's the history of the country. I'm not denying that.
All right, let's see what's up here.
Last question.
Which
Last
creates
question.
better people going forward.
Last question,
That was
and
what
then
I
I'm going to
said
let
in
you
my
go.
comment.
Last question. We're out of time,
Sure,
but I'm
go
going to give
ahead.
you one more question. During Jim Crow, could your family have
Sure.
existed? You are in an interracial marriage. Your wife is a white conservative
Yeah.
activist. Could your family have existed at all during Jim Crow?
No, it could not, Joy, and we all
Okay.
know that. But that's why I am blessed to live in America today as opposed to America during that time. But we cannot ignore the realities of not having fathers in homes. That is
Again, it's like, what? Okay, nice, but you can't like. How do you put these things into law? Like, because again, like if from this type of idealistic way of looking at things, this is how like Roe got reversed. Part of it, you know what I'm saying? But for the people who are like the true believers of stuff like this, like their motivation in, like abolishing abortion is because we have to, make more families, and like the family's so important and things like that. But again, it's like how do you put this into law? Like this, it's so and it ain't going nowhere. It's not going anywhere because at the end of the day, these people will throw you under the bus immediately. But again, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, so many of these people are just hacks. Like it has to get old. All right, what's up? We got something here. We got Trump still going at it. Trump claims law enforcement set up January 6 warriors in conspiracy-laden rant. What we got now? Oh, okay. Now he's anti-law enforcement for this situation.
Yes, but those J6 warriors, they were warriors, but they were really more than anything else. They're victims of what happened. All they were doing is protesting a rigged election. That's what they were doing. And then the police say, go in, go in, go in. Go in. How about Scaffold Joe, the guy on the scaffold? Or how about the big FBI guy or wherever he comes from? Go on in, everybody, go on in. What a setup that was. What a horrible, horrible thing. And that blows two ways. That blows two ways, believe me. And we don't want anybody doing
Again, just regular rally stuff. All right, hold on. Let's see what's up with this. We got one more from here from Al Sharpton with Byron Donalds. Let's see. I haven't seen Byron lose his temper or lose his cool ever, but it's just, man, this shit's got to get old.
You've also been criticized by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and the head of the DNC, Jamie Harrison, both of them black. One of them black from Brooklyn, like you were born in Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. What's your response?
And again, it's like I'm biracial. You know what I'm saying? Like I come from a mixed family. My dad's black, my mom's white. But again, it's like the irony, because black Republicans usually it's like I care so much about the black community more than everyone else, more than y'all. That's why my wife is white. You know what I mean? It's just like no matter how you look at it, you you know, it just nothing fits. Nothing. You know, your woman ain't black, your friends ain't black, your associates ain't black, your colleagues ain't black. None of these people are black. So how can you make the claim that you are more for the black community than other people? It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. You know, most black activists that I've seen that are really about it, that they blackety black, 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 everything black. You feel me? Like, so I don't see it.
Response.
My response is that it's very interesting how people can just lie and mischaracterize what I said. The video's on my social media. Go to @ByronDonald. You could listen to it in full. I never said or insinuated anything about Jim Crow being better. Just was talking about the marriage rates of black families in America during that time period. It's an empirical fact.
You mentioned Jim Crow. Wait a minute. I've
watched
watched your video. You mentioned Jim Crow 4 times. One time you referred to families. All families did.
You know, black family, black family, black family. That's why I have a white wife. It's just so, it's Clarence Thomas too, you know, black family, black this, black that. That's why it's so, they're so full of shit.
They had higher divorce rates in the 60s and 70s as the nation opened up. This wasn't because of Jim Crow kept blacks. Blacks couldn't vote. Those families couldn't go downtown. I mean, to in any way infer that the families, black families, were better than Jim Crow. I mean, I've said things that I've later said I shouldn't have said it that way.
I've never
Can't
said
you
that.
own that even sanitizing Jim Crow, even if that wasn't your intention, was to say, that's my intention, I'm sorry for using those words?
Well, first of all, I never sanitized Jim Crow. I was just talking about the era in which black marriage rates were higher than they were during the Great Society and every other point in American history.
Why did you say Jim Crow?
Because that's the period of time, Reverend.
The period of time was the 50s, if you want to say the 50s.
He could have said in the 50s, black families were more together because of X, Y, and Z. Jim Crow. Make sure they hear that.
When it happened.
You said Jim Crow.
That's when it happened. Because that was the era in which marriage rates were higher. Look, you had Joe Biden a couple of years ago talking about Jim Crow 2.0, talking about Georgia's law, and he lied. He lied then. So are we not allowed to talk about that era, or only are we allowed to talk about it when we do want to recall all the history of Jim Crow and all the tragedies that occurred during Jim Crow?
If we're going to talk about the era, Congressman, and you name a race-based law, then you cannot take race out of the fact Jim Crow was a law against black people. You weren't just talking about the era of Dwight Eisenhower and Harry Truman. You named Jim Crow. There's only one way you could deal with Jim Crow, and that's by race. I mean, look, you and I have mutual friends. People say you're a straight shooter. We may disagree on politics. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But look, you were born in Brooklyn. You went down into the South, went to Florida State. You have an interracial marriage. You're the congressman of a district that's not a black district. I mean, how can you even live with yourself acting like Jim Crow was a good era or better era for blacks? What happened to you?
Okay, that's real cute. That's real cute. I did not say that. And I'm not going to sit here and have to insinuate that against me. Because right now you're lying about what I said. I did say Jim Crow. I did reference it 3 times. That's not to say that it was better. I never said that. Those words never came out of my mouth. When are you going to get that through your skull and everybody else's skull? I never said that. And the difference between me and a lot of other Republicans, I'm not going to sit here and be lied on. I'm not going to let you.
I'm not going to let you sit here and talk about something I said. Hey, you can see, look, man, the times we live in, everything's on camera. Everything's recorded. It's a good look when you can take accountability, even when you mess up really, really bad. If you can take accountability, you'll find oftentimes people might forgive you. You know, people can forgive you if you can take accountability and you mean it. But you know, you can't act like you didn't say something that everybody's saying. You know,
under Jim Crow to bring families together. Did you say that?
Hakeem Jeffries was lying. The Biden campaign was lying.
All right.
Go look at my words.
Well,
go look at my words.
Right. People can look at your words.
Did I say Jim Crow was better? No, I did not.
You said
I did not say Jim Crow was better.
I
never said it was good. I did not have nostalgia. I never said any of those things.
All he has to do is say, you know what, you're right. I probably, like, literally, if he would address it just like this, it would be done. Like it would be over. If he was like, yeah, I probably could have chose my words better. I could have said the 50s. If he would, you know what I'm saying? But in this one clip, how do you go from saying Jim Crow was the era to saying that you didn't say it? All he has to do is say, yeah, I probably could have. But y'all saying he said it 4 separate times, so it's not like he said it once. Because it's just this is about as far as his career is gonna get, man. He's just gonna be a mouthpiece for the party.
I was talking about Black families and Black family marriage rates during that time.
Okay.
And the
All right, then what did Jim Crow do to contribute to Black families? Hello?
I'm not talking. Oh my gosh!
You
What I
said that you
guys
said
saw me,
under
what I said
Jim
about
Crow,
Jim
Black.
Crow.
Nah, bruh. Nah, you can nah. He said, "Oh my gosh." Come on, bruh.
Families. So explain to me what Jim Crow did to help Black families.
The marriage rates during the Jim Crow era were higher for Black families up
Because
until
of
the
Jim
point
Crow?
of the Great Society. I did not say that. I said they were, and this is the problem.
But also the other issue too is you could also get around this by saying they were higher during that time because of X, Y, and Z. He's not even doing that. He's just saying, well, they were higher at the time. Like, that's it.
Problem, because you're trying to say that I said because of Jim Crow marriages were at a higher rate. I did not say that. I said during. I said during.
But why
I guess
did
we
you
can't refer
use
to
Jim
time
Crow?
periods
Jim
then,
Crow
Reverend.
was
That
a
don't make
race
no
law.
sense.
Well, first of all, under Great Society did programs like manpower training, model cities, train young people. HEW didn't do anything about families. It's health, education, welfare. So, I mean, what are you talking about? They were not the antithesis to marriage. I mean, Congressman. All right, let's go to this.
Hey, look, this is the life that you chose. You know what I'm saying? This was the life you chose for yourself. You didn't have to say Jim Crow at all. You could have said, and he pointed that out. He said during the 50s, Black marriage rates were higher because of this and that. And then like it would have just been something truthful that you could have said that we could have looked at. But come on, bro. But like, that kills me, man. It's like again, I'm biracial. Like I'm half black and white. So I'm not speaking against interracial marriages or relationships generally. But it's like how how can you be like so proud and so and it's not even just pride. It's like I'm more prideful than you. I know what's better for black people than you. Than all of y'all tripping. And that's why I'm the only black person in my life. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Um, it's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. Because he was just looking stupid. All right, what's up with FEMA? Climate, the change in climate and increasing extremity in weather patterns. Yes. Racking up on the bills. Is racking up on the expenditures. Right, exactly. Don't hold my words against me. Don't. But that's kind of. It seems like, well, this is going to be your career. This is what you're here for. After $25 billion in disasters this year, FEMA is running out of money heading into the most destructive weather season, which is hurricane season, which is the United States has been rocked by an extraordinary number of tornadoes and devastating storms this year that have already left a staggering price tag. Now heading into what forecasters say will be an extreme summer, from punishing heat waves to severe weather and hurricanes, the nation's disaster relief agency is expected to run out of money before it's even over. The U.S. has been thrashed with 11 extreme weather disasters, with costs exceeding $1 billion so far this year, with a total price tag of $25.1 billion, according to an updated tally from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It's tied for the second most such disasters on record. It doesn't even include the extreme weather in the second half of May, said Adam Smith, an applied climatologist with NOAA. And this just goes as well to point out, you know, don't let a problem get too bad, man. You got to address things. Our infrastructure is what I'm talking about. Um, you always got to spend money on updating infrastructure. You always, we would have had to address climate change regardless, but things never needed to get this bad. They just didn't. This bad this quickly, by our hand, as well as the damages didn't need to be so steep. I always talk about Hurricane Katrina, how before Katrina came, those levees were damaged for a long time. And now it's like this all over the country. Pipes, the plumbing all over the country's messed up, water's messed up, everything's messed up because we have not been investing in things that we should invest in. We got Mike Boy in the building. What's going on? This is worrying news for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, whose major disaster relief could slip into the red by the end of summer, a more than $1.3 billion shortfall in August, according to a May report. Florida's two Republican senators recently wrote a letter to FEMA asking the agency how much more money it would need to respond to hurricane season. In a statement to CNN, a FEMA spokesperson said, didn't address exactly how much funding it would need to get through hurricane season, but said the agency is continuing to work with Congress to ensure sufficient funding is available. Without additional funding, FEMA will take steps prior to funding exhaustion to ensure resources are available to support ongoing life-saving and life-sustaining activities. Oh, man. Huh? While the country is while we sitting there arguing over Trump v. Biden, this ridiculous, dumbass presidential race, the country's falling apart. We got a man with 34 felony convictions. And again, the CBS poll came out today, and Donald Trump and Biden are like in a dead heat tie across the country and in the swing states. Like this country is so ridiculous. This spring produced the second most tornadoes to date since records began in 1950, according to the Storm Prediction Center. Tornado activity skyrocketed from late April through May, with more than 780 confirmed tornadoes cutting across the central and eastern U.S. during April and May. Damn. 780. That's the second most. Summer historically is a season with the most billion-dollar disasters because it's a transition period of many extremes historically as the severe storm season continues while the prospect of hurricane season approaches. Yep. Well, there you go. Just another just another one of our issues. Everything's on fire. Places are on fire. Right, exactly. Great point. We send billions to Israel. That's a fantastic point. Fantastic point. Biden does that. Democrats do that. Every week, well, the whole, the whole U.S. government does that. But yeah, it's so stupid, man. It is so stupid. All right, what we got? What we got here? Trump says he doesn't want to hear something causes cancer in weird digression when Dr. Phil asks how he deals with stress.
You have a personality-driven platform, just like I do. Mine's a fraction of yours. You've taken every shot you can imagine. You've been criticized, attacked, called every name in the book. They've turned the judicial system against you, the intelligence community. 51 intelligence officers swear that this is a Russian plant, this laptop over here, right before the election. The media has turned against you, print, TV, radio, internet, in the streets. Not campaigning Donald Trump, just real Donald Trump. How do you deal with that stress in your most private moments?
So, two things. Number one, I don't like thinking about it. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I don't want to think about it. Number two, I have tremendous support. I have the people's support. I think if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to handle it so easily. When a judge who has conflicts like nobody's ever had wants to put me in jail, when he puts a gag order and say, if you talk about these things, we're going to put you in jail. And I'm the Republican candidate. I was president. I'm leading the Democrat by a lot. He wants to put me in jail. I like not to think about it. It's like they say, oh, don't eat that food, don't eat this food, don't do this, don't do that. They don't really know. It might be good for you. It might not be bad. It might
No one really knows what's good for you, bad for you. Doctors, what is he talking about? I'm not following anything he's saying right now. His hair looks really bad, by the way. I mean, it usually looks bad, but it looks worse than usual. But obviously he's going through a crisis right now. But what the hell is he talking about? They say don't eat this, don't eat that. It's bad for you. They don't know. No one knows anything.
It's like they say, oh, don't eat that food, don't eat this food, don't do this, don't do that. They don't really know. It might be good for you. It might not be bad. It might be good. They say it causes cancer. I say, don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear the word. I don't want to. It's out of sight, out of mind. I think I have a very good disposition for trauma. But I have great support, Phil. The one thing is, because you mentioned lots
He said, I think I have a very great disposition for trauma. He said, I have a great disposition for trauma. Apparently you do.
Groups, and you're right about that. But I also have great support within the media. You know, there's a group of people in the media. You might be one of them. You're a very important force. The fact is, I've watched you so long. I just felt so confident when you called. I said, you know, otherwise, what do I have to subject myself to it for?
What? Man, he don't be making no sense, man. Okay, hold on. Let's see what's up. All right, before we get into the internet stories, we're almost there. We got MTG. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene. What we got? She says that Trump and Jesus are alike because they're both convicted felons. Okay. Oh, all right, Marjorie.
Oh, it is bullshit. Oh, it is bullshit. And you want to know something? We aren't going to tolerate it. The Democrats and the fake news media want to constantly talk about, oh, President Trump is a convicted felon. Well, you want to know something? The man that I worship is also a convicted felon. And he was murdered on a Roman cross. We've seen political corruption. We have seen this throughout history. This is nothing.
We've seen this throughout history. Jesus got killed by the Roman government. What? Oh, God. Oh. This woman is a member of Congress. We've seen this throughout history. Trump and Jesus are just the same.
Nothing new.
Okay. All right, let's see what we got before we get to these. One more from Fox and Friends. Fox and Friends jumps on Trump's call for pre-debate drug test. How does Biden get so suddenly jacked up? Well, and that's why I say, man, I don't care who you are, bro. If you have that job, if you are the president, if you are in any position like that, you probably do stimulants sometimes because, you know, maybe you got to stay up all night and finish some work or something.
Right now. He went after Biden's border, but he also said something that broke a lot of news over the weekend. He said that he wants President Biden to take a drug test before the debate in about 2.5 weeks. He said, I'll take one. He needs to take one. He said, he's not old, he's incompetent.
Right. right. Trump be like, no, I'm kind of the same age as Joe Biden. So let's not talk about his age. Let's talk about his incompetency.
The problem. Well, whether it's the drug test or just explaining to the American people of the ups and downs of the president. How is it one day the president is totally down, shuffling off stage, can't walk the full route overseas, and then is suddenly able to just be jacked up for a State of the Union? 2 days later, he's back to the same old, same old. So I don't know if it's drug tests or just explaining how is the president alert.
Because he's on stimulants. That's how. It just that's the answer. It's just that. Because he's on stimulants. Trump be on stimulants too. And they know that. Okay, so I don't know what's up with this right here, but we got a MAGA candidate who stormed off during a debate because, that's what real men do, real men aren't emotional and always stoic. When things don't go our way, we pout and we storm off.
Hi, Mr. Hand. Congress is currently working on a new farm bill, which will have a big impact on the 2nd District. What are your thoughts on the current House Republican plan? And specifically, would you support the controversial proposal to cut food aid for low-income Americans?
I'm Chuck Hand, lifelong resident of the 2nd District. I've worked side by side with the people of the 2nd District, solving problems since 2018. I've only seen this man next to me come around when it's election time, wanting to run for office. I've been wearing tires slam out in Southwest Georgia, meeting with voters and building relationships in our communities for years now. I'm not interested in debating the issues of the 2nd District with a man who doesn't even reside in it, especially one who orchestrates attacks on my wife. I'm more concerned about beating Sanford Bishop, representing you, and passing the America First agenda and putting Donald Trump back in the White House. This race is very simple. It's either 8th District money or 2nd District heart. The choice is yours. It's the dollar versus the change. Now, this is where I get back in my truck and head back to Southwest Georgia because I got two races to win.
Thank you very much. Doug Reardon, you're not staying, sir? Are you leaving? Okay.
Hey, he had that planned out. He had that extra planned out. He knew exactly what he was going to do. My man's was ready. Because when he was reading it, I was like, man, this sound, obviously, if you got to rehearse in practice, you want to rehearse in practice, but you don't want it to sound too rehearsed in practice. You want to pretty much know what you want to say. As long as you know what you want to say, you don't have to say it exactly word for word. You feel me? Memorize the point. It's more important to memorize the point than it is to memorize the words. But that's how I go about things because I kind of have a photographic memory. So yeah, it's easy for me to say that. But my man said, I'm not even going to debate this dude. I got to leave. He said, you got two choices, money from 8th District or hard work and determination from District 2. He said, that's why I'm not going to stay to discuss the issues. That's why I'm not going to sell myself to y'all. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna win, man. I don't think that's gonna have quite the effect that you intended for it to have because people still want to hear what you have to say. And basically all he did was say, I'm from District 2, and then he left. That's all he said. I actually live in District 2. Vote for me. Well, I'm sure more people than just you live in District 2, so you're going to have to give a better sale than that. That was funny as hell. All right. Now, see this one. See, this is a perfect example of what I was saying about how people will get into these massive online debates about things that, one, you don't know if it's real, and two, it probably isn't. Because, man, one of the things about TikTok is it's actually pretty easy to go viral on there. And that doesn't mean that anybody can get 1 million+ views, but like TikTok's algorithm picks things up way more than any other algorithm that I'm familiar with. I mean, I'm not really on all these platforms like that, but like anytime I've ever been on TikTok, like I'll just randomly post things and it'll get tens of thousands of views, but I don't have but not that many followers. Like, so that being said, a lot of these people are just trying to go viral. You don't, and I saw people talking about this, but you don't know if this type of stuff is real. Like, how convenient is it? I mean, yeah, we live in a time where people can capture anything on camera, but like these things just always feel like skits to me. Woman calls date broke for Starbucks meetup. And I feel like I saw this, but it's like every time I see stuff like this, I think these people are putting on a skit.
Lady,
Man, TikTok be
oh, look at him. Look at him.
I'm gonna take you home. I'm gonna take you back home.
Home?
I'm gonna take you back home where you. Yeah, I'm gonna take you home.
I look like this
I'm gonna take you home.
in your car right now, and you want to take me home.
this isn't real. Like you and then, man, see, I mean, this is one of the issues too of growing up on social media, bro. Like these kids, everything they experience is online. Well, not everything, but too much of what they experience is online. Like you can't tell that this shit isn't real. Like like you can watch 5 10 20 seconds of this and be like, oh, this was an idea that they had. And then people will be like, see, this is what's wrong with men, this is what's wrong with women, and the whole time it's not even real, you know.
You sure about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like if this is a first date, this is not real.
And you can get any other day, right? Just like you said, you can get any dude to come and pay for your meal and.
This is so fake. This is so fake. It's so obviously fake. It doesn't. But again, man, and there will be these massive weeks long debates about. It's like, guys, this shit isn't real. Yeah, man, we gotta we gotta go outside, man. We gotta make sure that people still go outside because if you can't tell that that shit was fake, then I don't know what to tell you. That shit was so obviously fake. Like, so what? This is your first date with somebody. Typically, you don't get picked. I mean, people get picked up on a first date, but usually not. Usually, they're gonna meet you somewhere on a first date if they don't know you at all. Maybe, maybe not. But the bigger thing is, why don't you know what you're doing on your first date? Like, oh, I'm just gonna pick the whole thing, and then the whole recording and no, this shit is not real. speaking of speaking of people needing to go outside. All right, we got Tech Bro claims that AI will eradicate social drinking in 5 years, gets roasted by the internet. Does everyone working in AI just not understand human beings? This is one of the things that I talk about all the time. Like, I mean, everything, there's issues everywhere, there's always issues. Plagiarism has always been an issue. Really, the biggest issue with AI, would be fake content, like getting framed or something. But it just seems, to me at least, it just seems like there's always going to be a way to prove that something wasn't you. Like if something didn't come directly from an account, like, oh, this wasn't me, this is fake. Like people usually know or point it out when it's fake. You can run sequences to see if something is AI generated. And then like AI can only do what we program it to do. You feel me? Like AI isn't human. It's not a person, it's a program. So, there's only so much of real life that it's going to replace. Sure, it'll change up the job market. There's a lot of things that it'll change up in the job market and how we do our day-to-day tasks and things like that. But it's not going to replace being alive in the world. Like that's not going to happen. Is there any kind of nerd more insufferable than the artificial intelligence nerd? Prediction: AI will displace social drinking within 5 years. What does that even mean? Just as alcohol is a social disinhibitor, like the Steve Martin movie Roxanne. People will use AI-powered earbuds to help them socialize. At first, we'll view it as creepy, but it will quickly become superior to alcohol. No, no. See, again, like Mark Zuckerberg. If Mark Zuckerberg wasn't the czar, you know what I'm saying? Um, the emperor of Facebook, he would have been fired so long ago. But he really thought that the whole world was going to want to live their life through a headset of a very poorly developed digital world. Like, most people don't live like that. Like, every computer programmer I know, I can't say that, but a lot of them, they think like everybody lives like I do. Like, bro, most people don't live on their computers like you do. You know what I'm saying? It's not bad, but it's like, I don't know. It's always strange. Like, they like, no, bro, people aren't going to do this. In 20 years, people will think of drinking as what? How, what? Why would people ever stop drinking alcohol? AI will disrupt a lot of things, but drinking will not be one of them. One of those tweets that makes me so glad I don't live in San Francisco. Yo, that's probably the best. That's probably the best reply. That's probably the best reply. The whole thing, because that is definitely some San Fran tech bro shit right there. That is some Silicon Valley thinking right there. Like, bro, most people aren't multimillionaire startup founders. You know that, right? Like, people gotta go to work and shit and do labor. Clubhouse will replace parties. Nah, man. Sometimes motherfuckers just need a drink. You feel me? You don't gotta be an alcoholic. You don't gotta be somebody who drinks heavily. Sometimes people just need a drink and some socialization. And alcohol makes, you know, it makes small talk easier and more fun. It makes breaking the ice easier. It makes it makes you a life of the party a little bit. That's hilarious. Okay, now we getting into some relationship stuff. So we got, don't tell me what to do. Woman comes home from a 10-hour shift at a restaurant, wants to cuddle with boyfriend who refuses unless she showers. This is pretty reasonable because I've worked in a lot of restaurants actually. Most of like the jobs I've had, like just, like employment and stuff, have been in restaurants. I've worked at a lot of restaurants and you end up smelling like the restaurant. You sweat a lot. It's hard work. We're working at a restaurant is hard work. I've never been a cook, but obviously the cooks, they're by the ovens and stoves, and they moving around. And if you're a server, if you're cleaning up, whatever it is, you got to move. You got to make sure that the tables are clear and clean because new customers are coming in and nobody wants to eat at a dirty table. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that the dishes stay clean because people need the food. Don't nobody want to eat off dirty plates. People in restaurants work hard and they often work long shifts. So you stink, you smell. Not only do you smell when you come home, but you're sticky, you're icky, you want to take a shower. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely don't have an issue here. It goes without saying that personal hygiene is super important, but people often have different levels of cleanliness. Some shower twice a day, others every couple of days, and some, well, they never shower at all. But when I was waitressing, I remember how much I used to hate coming home smelling like a kitchen. It was awful. The smell was stuck in my hair, my clothes, everything. Yeah, and it do get stuck. Like you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? You can like you smell it on your skin, like you just smell like, oh man, I smell like sandwiches and pizza. I smell like pizza sauce and sweat. This boyfriend became exasperated with his girlfriend who kept coming home after a long shift at a restaurant and didn't want to shower. Okay, like, look, if you don't want to shower, then go sleep on the couch and we can cuddle in the morning after you shower because I don't, like, you can't really blame anybody for this. You know what I mean? You can't really blame anybody for this at all. Oh, Roger Reports podcast. Thank you so much. I need to subscribe to your channel and check you out. Appreciate you for being here, man. We having a good time. Good time on this Monday afternoon. It's beautiful here. But yeah, no. After working a long shift at a restaurant, even for myself, I'm like, yo, let alone my courtesy for other people. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to smell like this for myself. But yeah, no, I can't blame you for that. I think it's kind of silly to get mad at somebody. Oh yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, you come home smelling like dogs and cats and all types of shit up in there. Hell yeah. But no, it's a pretty reasonable request. Like, hey, can you shower before we get all close to each other? Oh yeah, you're right. No, you can't be on the couch smelling like that. You just got to shower. Sleep on the floor. You got to sleep on the floor. Yeah, right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? And even at that, like before the courtesy for other people even gets there, it's like sometimes, like everyone, sometimes I like maybe go a day without showering or something. And then but sometimes I can't even make it that long. Like a few times I'll be like, I could probably go two if I'm just like maybe I'm super depressed or something or whatever. And then even then it's like, man, I feel disgusting. I stink. I gotta fucking wash my ass. So yeah. All right, what's up? Okay, this is some corny shit right here. This is definitely taking it a little too far. Taking things a little too far. Inconsiderate dude shuts down friend asking for emotional support. Anoints himself the king of boundaries. Don't be inconsistent and then expect me to play the fat friend. And I think he did this for he, he did this so that he could get some attention online. I'm convinced that nobody except therapists like therapy speak. If you don't know what therapy speak is, maybe this will refresh your memory. Okay. Okay, so this is the text right here. So he said this is Dr. Marcus Shepard. Oh, so if he's a doctor, then he's a little too old to be this immature, but maybe not. Maybe he got his doctorate at when like 26 or 27 or something. I'm the king of boundaries. Don't be inconsistent and then expect me to play the fat friend. What? Okay, so let's find out what that means. He said, LMAO, just listen to this. Been running around all day. How was your day? Hope what did it say? Hope you've been having a good day. I'm stressed out and you normally got words of wisdom. Hey, sorry to hear you aren't doing well. We haven't been in meaningful contact in almost a month offline. Therefore, I'd ask that you seek your care work from somebody else. What? Why? If it's like that, why did you reply? Like, no, you have to talk to me every single day. if you want, if you want some advice, you got to talk to me every day for it. And then he posted it online. He said, hey, sorry to hear you aren't doing well. We haven't been in meaningful contact in almost a month offline. Therefore, I'd ask that you seek your care work from somebody else who you have been consistent with. I know it's probably not your intention. Well, if it's not his intention, then if it's probably not his intention, which it's not because you said almost a month. So that means that maybe y'all have spoken a few times over the last 3 weeks, which is pretty normal for adult relationships because people have things to do. So, you know, talk to somebody else. I know it's probably not your intention, but being inconsistent with me regarding communication and then asking for me to provide care work doesn't sit right with me and devalues me as a person. Why did you say all of this? They hit you up because they obviously consider you somebody who could give them some good advice. Talking about almost a month. Almost a month is 3 weeks. That's not a long time. And you said that you cleared them. You cleared them so respectfully. I know that's right. Nah, gotta practice what I preach and teach. You say LMAO, I'd never speak to you again. I wouldn't either. I'd just be like, I would have been like, okay, bro, then I just will leave you alone if it's like that. Great example of something that's not a boundary and also something that's not care work. Millennials go to therapy 3 times, then become schizophrenic forever. Everything about me is therapy now. I done been twice, and now my whole world is therapeutic dialect. I find it so insane the way we've decided that because we have smartphones, we need to be in contact with one another all day, every day. And if we aren't, then that means we aren't being a good friend. Yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's just a whole bunch of a whole bunch of stuff, but that was just that was pretty whack. That was pretty whack. Definitely unnecessary. Okay, so now we got two more, and we got them from Chip Chick, and you know Chip Chick is just one of the greatest things ever. All right, so first we got a woman who wants to divorce her husband, and then the second one we got a man who wants to divorce his wife. So first we'll check out the woman who wants to divorce her husband, and it's it seems like this obvious if she wants to divorce him, then obviously this type of behavior is common, pretty common, and I can't blame her. So it says she wants to divorce her husband after he chose going to his friend's house to play video games over coming home to care for their sick kids while she was sick. To care for their kids while she was sick. Yeah, again, that this tells me that he does stuff like this often. And after a while, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. After a while, if someone's just repeatedly inconsiderate, eventually it's, like you're gonna be like, okay, well, if you can't do better or different than this, then I don't, I think we need to part ways. Most parents are familiar with the phrase parents don't get a day off. But when a parent is sick, they sure could use some extra help. One woman is extremely upset after her husband decided to hang out with his friends after work when she hoped he would come home to care for their kids while she was sick. She and her husband are 35 and have two young kids, ages 3 and 6. Okay, so they've been together for a while. So again, he probably does stuff like this. This kind of probably generally how he goes about stuff because they've been together for long enough now to where they kind of know who the other is. After you've known somebody for a couple of years, like people can change, people can make improvements for sure. People absolutely can work on themselves 100%. But after a couple of years, you kind of get a feel for who somebody is. And the important thing is that you try and make an effort. As long as you're trying to make an effort to improve, then people generally will work with you. If you don't try and you don't make an effort, then again, won't be long before it's like, all right, I don't know what to tell you. She and her husband are 35 and have two young kids, ages 3 and 6. She's had a rough few days as she works a job that requires physical labor, and has been sick. She's had a fever, body aches, and a stiff neck, but had to go to work at the start of the week because her job would be at risk if she missed it. Oh, sounds like middle class life right there. Middle sounds like middle class life right there, quote unquote middle class life. My husband goes to his friend's house every Tuesday night to play video games while I have a night with the kids. But this Tuesday, I was exhausted from the day and in major pain with a fever. I texted my husband right before he left work and told him I was still in pain and sent a picture of the thermometer with 101.9 fever on it. I asked him to please come home for the kids' bath, and dinner, and bedtime. But then I said I don't want to be a burden in the past. No, in the past, he has been huffy if I asked him to stay home for whatever reason. Her husband sent back LOL, okay, which made her feel bad as he didn't offer to help her out right away. Yeah, no, yeah, he's too comfortable. This is I'm too comfortable syndrome. We got Dragon Ball Super Dope. My brother Kyle was going on. Yeah, no, this is I'm too comfortable syndrome. Um, in any kind of relationship, again, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. People have to know that you have boundaries. If you don't have boundaries or you don't have strong enough boundaries, people will mistreat you, even if they don't mean to. Now, this guy kind of seems like an immature, just like an immature jackass through here. But if you don't have strong boundaries, people are going to mistreat you because you don't stand up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You'll come to find that if you stand up for yourself, people will think twice. And it's not like a tough guy thing, like you don't got to go around beating your chest out, but you know, no, people need to know that if I do certain things, this person is going to kick me out of their life. People need to know that. You know what I'm saying? All right. While she didn't want to make him angry, she really felt like she could use the help with the kids. So she took back her birding comment by telling her husband that he'd be her knight in shining armor. Knight in shining armor. Damn, I can't talk today. I'm thirsty. I need a drink. If he skipped this video game night and went right home after work. I didn't hear from him for an hour and I figured he'd gone to the gym. So I asked if he was still at the gym, and over 30 minutes later he replied that he was at his friend's house. Yeah, nah. Yeah, he got you fucked up. He feels like you just gonna be there. And this is the type of stuff that people do when they feel like you're just gonna be there. Like, you feel me? But yeah, him ignoring her and stuff was, but yeah, nah. You gotta set up some stronger boundaries, sister. You gotta set up some stronger boundaries. Cause again, if you play video games with your friend every Tuesday night, it's definitely not asking a lot to ask the father of these kids. They're his children. Be like, hey, can you give me a hand? I'm the mother of your kids. Fuck you, kiss my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's gotta, if you had stronger boundaries, that's more what it would be like. Yeah, no, fuck you, kiss my ass. These are your children. If you don't come take care of them, we're gonna have a problem. The end. You know what I'm saying? Like, the end. You feel me? So now, now we got this next one. I can't, and again, I can't really blame him for wanting to, or at least having a lot of issues, because this is he wants to divorce his pregnant wife because he found out she made up a story about his ex-girlfriend cheating on him to end his last relationship and get his ex out of the way. Yeah, that's pretty egregious. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you're willing to do this, um, what else are you willing to do? Not just to me, but to anybody. This speaks so much to someone's character. You ruined our relationship for the sake of yourself. So again, what else are you doing throughout your life? Because if you do this to me and us, then you definitely do this. This is just how you are. So yeah, I that would kind of be like, you know what I mean? This would kind of be like, eh. Oh, we got Manuel. What's going on? What's going on? How you doing? But nah, I don't agree with that, Mike Boy, because if if you're that speaks so much to someone's character. Like, I can't trust you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you and you did, you find out through the grapevine some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, we may have to do co-parenting, but I don't know if I can be with you. You know what I'm saying? But let's read. This man and his ex-girlfriend were together for 10 years, dating from the time they were just 15 years old until they were 25. But then his ex and her best friend had a falling out, which caused his relationship to come crashing down too. Apparently, after his ex's friendship ended, her best friend confronted him and tried to expose his ex as being unfaithful. She told me my ex cheated on me with a mutual friend and had been cheating for 2 years. After hearing that, he was obviously taken aback and spoke to his ex-girlfriend, who was furious that he was accusing her of cheating. She also asked if it was her best friend who told him that. He admitted that yes, his ex's best friend had spilled the beans. She became even angrier and said that I was a moron who didn't trust her. Hey, maybe that's some of his comeuppance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because yeah, he's not totally blameless in it either. But I mean, maybe they just don't need to be together. Because again, if you're willing to do that, like, that's like people who do stuff like that they just lie. You know what I'm saying? Like they just lie, and you never know when they're gonna lie about something major. And like that's a pretty big deal. But again, maybe he's a fool for even getting along with it since it's her bet or her friend or some shit like that. Like why you so close to home? So yeah, everybody wrong in this situation. Everybody fucked up. He fucked up for being with his ex's best friend, or why are you with her? Why would you do that? And then her best friend is fucked up for lying. So they just don't need to be together. Uh She refused to answer me because she said that I should know her better than this. I took it as her avoiding the answer. So he ultimately broke up with his ex-girlfriend, and in a twist, he actually began dating his ex's best friend. And see, that's where he went wrong. Like, dude, you should have just found somebody that's has nothing to do with that situation. Now, 3 years later, he is even oh yeah, see, look, and you rushed it. So yeah, he going about this all wrong anyway. You was with somebody for 10 years, and then you you're about to marry their ex-best friend only a few years later. So yeah, this was never going to work regardless. Yeah, they're going to break up for sure. This isn't going to work. This definitely isn't going to work. Yeah, no, their relationship's not gonna work. It was doomed from the start. The ex best friend for lying on it, and then her being with him. They should never have been together. Period. That this shouldn't have happened. My wife was in love with me and wanted my ex girlfriend out of the way. She used their falling out to make up the story. Then she used my grief to act like she cared I was hurting. Well, both of y'all wrong. Both of y'all are wrong, and both of y'all are drove, and your relationship almost certainly is not going to work. So yes, we had a few other ones, but yeah, we had a long Monday stream. Normally Monday, sometimes I don't even stream on Monday because it's not enough to talk about. But today we went for almost 2 hours. It was a good one. We had a very good one. I'll probably definitely be streaming tomorrow. I got more work to do. I appreciate all of y'all for everything that you do. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for believing in me. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the day.